Good morning, everyone. We are continuing with workers' comp. It may not be a very long lecture, but I will go over, excuse me, the remaining notes. And from yesterday, remember that I said that you will never fill out the first report of injury. You, as the billing coding specialist, will never fill out the first report of injury. The employer should have already had that completed. And it's fine that you get a copy because you can get the accident details from it. But as far as you actually completing the form, you will not fill that out. So we're actually going to skip through all of that because it does not apply to us. So you go down to the PowerPoint that says once the first report of injury form is complete, one copy will go to the State Workers' Compensation Board or Commission, the employer, the compensation payer, which is the insurance company, and the ill or injured party employer. So when I got hurt, it went to workers' comp, it went to Aldine, it went to my insurance company, and then it came to Nimitz because Nimitz is a part of Aldine. So those places have to get a copy of your first injury report. This is very important, and this is important for anything. If you have a patient that has more than one file, they have to have a separate chart. You cannot put everything in the same chart because it's different insurance, and you'll make a mistake in filing under the wrong one. So you need to make a separate file. If it's electronic, you need to make a separate file if it's paper. So anytime they have a different case, workers' comp, major medical, which is regular insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, auto accident, they have to have a separate chart. Just hands down have to have a separate chart. And that's what this is saying here. The patient's workers' compensation chart must be separate from their regular patient chart if everything is done online. The patient will have two different ID numbers. Now, in the case of having two charts, the patient probably won't have a different ID number, but they'll have a different file. And there has to be a system put in place with your office staff so they'll know what's the difference. So patient's work-related injury chart should include the following necessary information. You should have the name and address of present employer, so where they work, the name of the immediate supervisor. So again, we'll always use me. When I fail, the name of the present employer is Aldine ISD. When I failed last year, my immediate supervisor was Dr. Watson. The date and the time of the accident or the onset of the disease. So it was during 4th period. So let's say 11:45 because it was right after lunch. Where did the site injury occur? It happened on the 2400 hall. Patient description of onset of disorder. And you have to write down what happened. I was running down the hallway, my Crocs slipped from under my foot, and I bust my ass. Now, did I put that on my paper? No. But that was pretty much what happened. I slipped and fell. My shoe came from up under me, and I went zoop on my butt, on my tailbone, actually. The first report of injury, which is the form that I told you will not fill out, but the employer will. And then the progress report. And no, that has nothing to do with school, but the progress reports are when the patient goes in and they get treated. It's a note that just simply says what happened on your visit. That is what's called a progress note. And the next slide details what that is. Progress reports. And a detailed narrative progress report should be to file documents. This a little wordy, but basically it should show any changes in the patient's disability and should document the following: the patient's name and compensation file or case number, the treatment and progress report, the work status at the present time. What does that mean? Are they at work? If they're at work, are they on light duty? Are they on modified duty? Are they at work at all? Are they at home? Do they just come to therapy? What is their work status? When you go in for a re-exam, or when a patient goes in for a re-exam with a workers' comp case, they have to go in once a month. And the statement is they're going to ask you, does this patient need more treatment? The estimate of future status with regards to work or permanent loss or disability. So how long is it going to take them to heal? Are they going to need another month, 2 weeks, what? Copies of substantiating x-rays, laboratory, or consultation reports. Remember, the insurance company is not your friend, especially workers' comp. They want all of the details to make sure that they have enough evidence to make sure you get it. Or they don't want you to get it, but if you can prove it, then they have no reason to deny you care. Physicians should sign original and photocopies of reports. And here is a sample. Now, we will do this in class, and for those of you who are at home, I will post one online for you to do, but we will practice SOAP notes. SOAP notes is simply what it states up there. Subjective, what the patient's complaint is. Objective, what the doctor can find physically through orthopedic exam or laboratory findings. Assessment. What are we going to do, or what tests were performed to see what we could do. And then the plan is how we're going to treat them. So I will post a SOAP note activity, or for those of you who are in class, we'll do it tomorrow. But you do need to understand what SOAP notes are. They're a very simple and quick way to jot down what's going on with the patient, and so you can have a note or a document of that visit. And sure enough, it is a very short lecture, but I do want to point some things out to you before you begin on your workers' compensation claim. So box 1 is going to be Fika. Now, Fika is only for federal workers' comp if you're doing a federal workers' comp claim. If you're doing something other, such as state, it's going to be other. Where's the other part that I wanted to show you? When you get to 7, is it? Okay, no, it's 4 and 7. So when you get to 4 and 7, when you're looking at your claim form, on the right side, it's 1, 5, and 9. On the right is 4 and 7. Number 4 is going to be the patient's employer. That is who's paying for this. Okay. And then you're going to put the mailing address for the employee's mailing address on the other side. So it's the insurance company is going to be on the right side and the patient's information on the left. Because who is paying for this claim? The employer. The employer or the insurance that sponsors the employer. They are paying for it. So it's not going to be not the patient's information on the right side. You know how we usually say same or we repeat it. It's not like that on the workers' comp claim. You have to pay attention to what it's asking you because that's not it. Make sure in box 10A that it is yes. This is from an employment injury. So make sure that you do not click or X out no, 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 no. It's yes and then no, no. If you have a workers' compensation claim number, you're going to put it in 11 if you have it. And the rest you should be able to follow just like you have with your other claims. Just make sure when you're putting your dates in that it is a 2-digit month, 2-digit day, and 4-digit year. It is not a 2-digit year. And I believe, I did leave something out. I'm sorry. When you go over here to 17, make sure that you're not leaving out the DN, DK, or DQ for your claims. Some of you have been putting doctor in that little box in the front, and that's not correct. It's either DN, DK, or DQ, depending on if they're referring, ordering, or supervising provider. Sometimes with the workers' comp claim on number 18, you may have somebody that was admitted, but just always remember when you're doing an admission, they go in one day, they come out another. It's not the same. Outpatient, they go in the same day, they come out the same day. But an admission, they have to stay at least one night. For the most part, I think that all of you will be fine completing this claim. I do want to reiterate for you all that are at home, I've seen several of you not fill out number 30 and not fill out, number 31, number 32. So I need you to put those addresses in, and if you have questions about that, please let me know and I'll assist you. But some of you are having trouble from 30 to 33. But if you have issues, send me an email, screenshot the claim, or we may have to do a Google Meet one day. But for those of you who are at home, we are finished with workers' comp for today. I will post your claim in just one moment, and you will work on that and submit it for today. So I will talk to you soon, and have a great day.
Thank you, Dr. Smith.
You're welcome.